Okay, welcome to our second day of review. Last time we were reviewing orders of operations, how to solve and simplify those numeric expressions. Today is not October the 12th, today is October 14th. So we're gonna place the date correctly, October 14th, 2021. And today we're going to practice simplifying expressions and evaluating expressions. We're going to have two different methods for evaluation of expressions, and you can use whichever method you like. Okay, on the first one, our first expression is just to simplify. Okay, this one is just simplify. We're not going to evaluate or anything. It is just simplify. Okay, so we're going to simplify the expression that's given right next to it, which is 3 parentheses m plus 9 close parentheses minus 5m plus 6 plus 11m. Okay, so that's it. Those are the ones that we're going, that's what we're going to be doing. What should we use first? Well, we need to use properties of numbers. Okay, how do I know that I need to use a property of number in there? I need to use a distributive property because I have a parenthesis and a number on the outside. Okay, so that's the very first thing that I'm going to get rid of this parenthesis. I'm going to multiply this 3 on the outside times every single term on the inside of the parenthesis. There will get a point further on in the school year where you might have a number outside of parentheses, but the parenthesis is being affected by an exponent. In that case, you need to solve first the exponent and then the distributive property, okay? Because of PEMDAS, first exponents and then multiplications. In this case, our parenthesis does not have an exponent, so we can totally just multiply the number that we have on the outside. Okay, so now we're gonna say 3 times m. Remember, we're gonna multiply coefficients with coefficients, meaning numbers with numbers. In this case, we have an invisible one. So 3 times invisible 1, m, will be 3. Now 3 times positive 9 is going to be
27.
So plus 27. And since I've finished with the parentheses, it closes there. I copy everything else just as it is. Just as it is without changing anything. Now, what's my next step? My next step is to find like terms. Do you remember what like terms are? The definition that I gave you?
Are
like
terms with the same variable.
Terms that have exactly the same variable with exactly the same exponents. Thank you, Cisnero. Okay, so yes, that's it. So we're going to find the like terms. We have another term that has the variable m in there.
Yes.
Which one, Paola?
5m and 11m.
Okay, just remember to take into account the sign to the left. So in this case, negative 5m and 11m. Now we're going to go with the next term, 27. This is a constant. Remember, constants do not have variable. So do I have another constant in there?
6.
Yeah. Exactly, number 6. So I'm going to cross 2 little lines in there. Now, what's my next step? My next step is to rewrite my expression with the like terms one next to the other. Okay, so that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to say 3m minus 5m plus 11m. Those are the ones that have only one little line underneath it. Plus 27 plus 6. And now I'm ready to start adding or subtracting. So I'm going to say 3m minus 2m.
Negative 2m.
Negative 2m, correct. And I copy the rest. So plus 11m plus 27 plus 6. In this next step, I'm going to do two things at the same time. Negative 2m plus 11m. How much? How much again? Negative 2m plus 11m. I barely hear you, but I'm gonna guess that you said 9m. Okay. And then at the same time, I'm gonna do the other one, the constants. 27 plus 6. 27 plus 6.
33.
So plus 33. And that is my final answer. How do I know that this is my final answer? Well, because I don't have no more like terms. 9m has a variable and 33 does not. Therefore, there's no like term in there. Okay? Questions so far? No? We're good? Awesome? Okay. Now we're going to do the next exercise. It says evaluate when x is equal to -1 and y is equal to 5, the following expression. Negative x plus 5x minus 2y plus 3 plus y minus 6x. So we have two ways of doing it. The first one is to just evaluate right away from the beginning. That will be method 1. Method 2 will be to simplify what we just did and then evaluate. Now remember, what is to evaluate? Evaluate is just to substitute the variables for the value that's given for the variable. In this case, I'm going to substitute for every x the -1 and for every y the +5. I'm going to do this handwritten, okay? So you can see it. I'm going to move this a little bit to this side. Give me a second. Here. And I'm going to start evaluating right away. I'm going to write in black what's part of the expression, and I'm going to write in blue the substitution that I'm writing, okay? So I'm going to say negative, this negative, and instead of x, I'm writing the value that they're giving me for x, which is -1. In between the parentheses. Every single time that I substitute something, I'm going to use a parenthesis. Plus the 5, and instead of x, again, -1. Minus 2, and instead of the y, I'm using 5. Plus 3, and that's a constant. So I'm just going to write plus 3. Plus, instead of y, the value they're giving me, which is 5. Minus 6 times x. And x is -1. So in between the parentheses, -1. Now I'm just going to go multiplying and simplifying, okay? So I'm going to multiply. I got a negative times -1. So I'm going to multiply the signs. Negative times negative.
Positive.
So +1. Now 5 times -1. I'm going to place plus. How much is 5 times -1?
-5.
Parenthesis -5. -2 times 5, because I'm taking this negative right next to me. -2 times 5. -2 times 5. What is -2 times 5?
10.
-2 times 5.
-10.
-10. Exactly, Valerie. Plus 3. because the 3 is not multiplying anything, plus 5, I can get rid of the parentheses because I don't need it. -6 times -1,
6.
+6, exactly. Okay, now I have over here still a multiplication of signs. Okay, positive times negative,
Negative.
negative. Now I'm gonna say 1 minus 5,
-4.
-4, and I copy the rest because I need to solve this from left to right. So I'm just gonna copy everything else that I have to the right. -4 minus 10,
Negative 14.
-14. And I copy the rest. So +3, +5, +6. -14 plus 3,
-11.
-11 plus 5 plus 6. -11 plus 5,
-6.
-6 plus 6. -6 plus 6,
0.
0. And that's my final answer. I finished. Okay, this is method 1. Let's see method 2. I'm gonna move this a little bit higher there. And I'm gonna do it different. How am I gonna do it different? I'm going to just simplify first, looking for the like terms first, and then I'm going to evaluate. So like terms. Do I have another x in there? This is -x. Do I have a like term for -x? Any other term has a variable? -6x and what else?
5x.
5x, correct. Now I've got something else. I got a variable y. With -2y, do I have another variable y in there?
Yes.
Which one?
Y.
Y, right? So this is my other like term. And then I have a constant. Do I have another constant? No, so I'm not gonna write it in there. I'm just gonna leave it like that. And I said that I was gonna simplify first, so I'm gonna rewrite it with the variables one next to the other. So this is gonna be -x plus 5x minus 6x. Now the y, so minus 2y plus y, and then the constant plus 3. And I'm going to simplify that. -x plus 5x -x plus 5x -x plus 5x. Come on, how much is that?
4x.
4x positive, right? Minus 6x. And like I told you, I can do more than one step at the same time. I'm going to do this at the same time. -2y plus y.
1y.
1y, but negative because the greatest number is -2. So -1y or just -y. And I copy the plus 3. 4x minus 6x.
-2x.
-2x minus y plus 3. And now I'm going to start evaluating for the values that they gave me. So I'm going to rewrite again in black what's already part of the expression that I cannot change. And then x is -1 minus y, and y is 5. Then plus 3. We have to get exactly the same answer. Let's see if we have exactly the same answer. -2 times -1,
2.
2 minus, I can get rid of the parentheses because negative times positive, that's negative. So -5 plus 3. 2 minus 5,
-3.
-3 plus 3,
0.
0.
0. And that's my final answer. Did I get exactly the same answer? Yes. So I have two methods that I can use. I can either evaluate from the beginning or I can simplify and then evaluate. As you can see, this procedure was a little bit longer than this one. And in both, I skipped one step because I did a double step in one single step. Okay, so, and even though this is shorter than this one. So I like this one, but you can use whichever method you want. Okay. Okie dokie. Now, next exercise. When A is equal to 2 and B is equal to -4. And what now we have exponents. Remember, exponent is an abbreviated way of writing a same number multiplied by itself. Okay, so remember, exponents is not the big number multiplied times the exponent. It is big number multiplied as many times as the exponent says. And I say big number so you can remember that the coefficient is a big number, okay? So I'm gonna evaluate already because none of those are like terms, so I can do nothing. So I'm gonna evaluate. So I'm gonna say 2, and instead of A, I'm using 2 as well. Because that's the value that's given me. And I'm gonna place that to the cube. Plus 3, instead of B, I'm using -4, and that one is going to be 2 to the square. Now, what is the first thing that I need to solve in here? Is the multiplication, or is there anything else that I need to solve first?
The exponent.
The exponent, correct. So I'm going to copy again the 2. And how much is 2 to the cube? It's not 6. It's not 2 times 3. How much is 2 to the cube? No, it's not 4. 8, correct. Because it is 2 times 2, which is 4, times 2, that's 8. Plus 3. Now it should go in block. So plus 3. And now we do the other exponent at the same time. How much is -4 to the square? And after you give me the answer, I'm going to explain you something in here that's really important that we're going to see again back when we're going to see the topic of exponents, laws of exponents, rules of exponents. So how much is -4 to the square?
-16.
16, but positive. Why means why is it positive and not negative? Okay, so whenever you have a sign inside the parentheses, the negative sign, affected by an exponent, the exponent also affects the negative. So it's not 4 times 4 and then times the negative. It's -4 times -4. And remember the multiplications of signs? Negative times negative, positive. So it's positive 16. Now this is the other thing that I want you to remember, okay? Every single time that I have a negative sign inside a parenthesis affected by an even exponent, remember even numbers, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and all of those that can be divided by 2 perfectly, those are even numbers. So any negative number that's being affected inside a parenthesis by a negative sign will always be positive, always, because negative times negative, positive. okay? It's an even number, 2. Now, if it's an odd number, like 3, 5, 7, 9, which cannot be divided by 2 perfectly, then it will be negative, because negative times negative positive times negative negative. So you can use your hand and say, okay, negative, positive, negative, positive, negative, positive, negative, positive, negative, positive. So you see, you can use your hand and say, okay, negative, positive, and that's how you're gonna know. And remember, if your exponent will affect the negative sign and make it negative or make it positive, okay? So if this would have been a 3 instead of a 2, then that would have been negative 64. But since it is a 2, which is an even number, that's why it's positive 16. So that's really important for you to remember, guys. Okay. Now we're going to do the multiplications, right? So 2 times 8.
16.
16 plus 3 times 16.
48.
48. And now I'm going to add 16 plus 48. How much is 16 plus 48?
64.
64, correct. And that is how we evaluate an expression that has exponents. Okay? Questions so far? Everything is clear. Exercises like this, similar to this, are common in your exam. So that's why I'm placing you those exercises, okay? So remember, you're going to evaluate. Sometimes you can do it this way. Sometimes there's only one way that you can do it, both methods or only one method. And you're going to simplify expressions as well in your exam. And this basically is what we're going to cover in our second day review.